A single dad veteran and his young daughter come across a frightened tattooed girl in need of help. They take her in, slowly learning her story and offering her warmth, safety, and kindness. The girl's troubled past resurfaces, and danger threatens their newfound peace. The veteran draws on his military strength and wisdom to protect both his daughter and the girl. It was one of those evenings when the world seemed to hold its breath. The sun had dipped low, painting the sky with streaks of pink and amber, while the chill of late autumn nipped at the skin. Leaves crunched beneath boots as Daniel Hayes walked steadily down the familiar street of their quiet neighborhood. He was a man built by discipline, molded by years of military service, and softened only by the gentle hand of fatherhood. His life had once been about survival, strategy, and sacrifice. Now, it revolved around the little girl whose small hand swung cheerfully in his own. Emily was only 8, yet she carried an energy that could light up the darkest corners of her father's weary soul. She had her mother's smile, though her mother had been gone for years, taken too soon. In her absence, Daniel had learned how to braid hair clumsily, how to patch up dolls with duct tape, and how to listen to endless chatter about playground adventures. To him, she was not just a daughter but his compass, the anchor that kept him grounded after the storms of war. "Daddy," Emily chirped, her bright eyes reflecting the last shimmer of daylight. "Guess what Mrs. Thompson said today?" "She said I draw stars better than anyone in the class. She said maybe one day I'll be an astronaut." Daniel smiled faintly, his lips curving in the way they only did for her. "An astronaut, huh? That means you'll be braver than your old man." "Space is a lot scarier than any battlefield," Emily giggled, hopping on one foot and then the other. "Would you come with me to space?" "Only if they let Dads tag along," he replied, squeezing her hand gently. The conversation drifted like the leaves swirling across the pavement. To anyone else, it was just a father and daughter walking home, but to Daniel, every step with Emily was sacred. He had seen too much in his life to take moments like this for granted. As they passed the old corner convenience store, Emily's playful humming stopped. She tugged at his sleeve, her small face shifting from joy to concern. "Daddy," she whispered, pointing toward the alley beside the building. Daniel followed her gaze. There, slumped against the cold brick wall, sat a girl no older than 20, maybe younger. The shadows of the alley swallowed much of her form, but enough light lingered to reveal the story her body told. She was curled into herself, knees tucked tightly, arms inked with bold tattoos that seemed almost too vibrant against the pallor of her skin. Her hoodie was stained, her jeans torn, and her lips carried the faint trace of a bruise. Her eyes flicked up at them, sharp at first, then quickly retreating, as if even being noticed was dangerous. Something about her posture struck Daniel like a memory. It wasn't the tattoos or the bruises. It was the look in her eyes, the look of someone who wanted to disappear, who had been cornered too many times to believe kindness was real. "Daddy, can we help her?" Emily's voice was soft, filled with a kind of compassion that only children seemed to hold unbroken. Daniel paused. His instincts, honed from years in the service, told him to stay cautious. You never knew what kind of trouble someone could bring with them. He studied the girl carefully, at her quick glances, the way her hands trembled slightly, the defensive curve of her shoulders. She looked ready to run at the smallest threat, yet too weak to actually do it. He could have kept walking. No one would blame him. The world was full of people who needed help, and he had Emily to think about. But then he looked down at his daughter, at those wide, trusting eyes searching his face for an answer. Emily wasn't asking with fear, she was asking with love. And Daniel remembered a truth he had learned in both the war and fatherhood. Sometimes, the smallest choice could change everything. "Stay behind me, Em," he murmured gently. He approached the girl with deliberate slowness, his voice calm and steady, like one might speak to a frightened animal. "Hey there, you okay?" The girl flinched, pressing her back tighter against the wall. "I'm fine," she muttered, though the hoarseness in her voice betrayed a lie. "Just a broken bar, leave me alone." Daniel crouched a safe distance away, lowering himself so he wouldn't tower over her. His movements were precise, calculated to show no threat. He had done this before, though not in an alley, not in his hometown. "Look, I don't want to scare you, but you don't look fine. You look cold, hungry, and tired." Her eyes narrowed, suspicion lacing her expression. "Why do you care?" Before Daniel could answer, Emily's little voice chimed in, "Because we have soup at home, and hot chocolate. Daddy makes the best hot chocolate in the whole world. You can come with us if you want." The girl blinked, caught off guard by the child's unfiltered kindness. For a moment, her hardened expression cracked, and something softer flickered in her eyes, a surprise, maybe even longing, but it vanished quickly, buried under mistrust. "You don't know me," she whispered. "You don't know what I've done." Daniel's gaze remained steady. He had seen broken people before, people who carried more scars than skin, and he knew that what they needed most wasn't judgmental, it was someone willing to see them as more than their mistakes. "You're right," he said quietly. "I don't know you, but I know what it looks like when someone needs help. And right now, my daughter is asking me to help you. So that's what we're going to do. No strings, no questions unless you want to answer them. Just a warm meal, a blanket, and a safe place for the night." The girl swallowed hard. For a long moment, silence hung in the air, broken only by the rustle of leaves and the distant hum of traffic. Her eyes darted from Daniel to Emily, and then Emily, without hesitation, stretched out her tiny hand. "My name's Emily," she said with a smile. "What's yours?" The girl stared at the little hand. Slowly, with visible hesitation, she lifted her own and touched it lightly, as though afraid the kindness would vanish if she held on too tightly. "Lila," she murmured. "My name's Lila." "That's a pretty name," Emily beamed. "Come on, Lila. Daddy's soup is yummy." Daniel rose, offering his hand but not pushing when Lila hesitated. She tried to stand on her own, but her legs wobbled, and he instinctively steadied her. She winced, biting back a groan, and he noted the way she shifted weight carefully as if her body carried more than exhaustion. The walk home was quiet. Emily skipped ahead, humming softly, while Lila kept her gaze on the ground, one hand gripping her sleeve as though she could disappear into it. Daniel walked beside her, alert, scanning the street out of habit. Their home wasn't grand, a small rental house with peeling paint and an overgrown lawn, but it was warm inside, lived in, safe. The scent of old wood and faint lavender from Emily's soap filled the air as Daniel opened the door. Emily rushed in first, tossing her shoes aside. "You can sit here," she chirped, pulling blankets from the couch and spreading them with exaggerated care. Lila stood at the threshold for a moment, eyes flicking across the space. The pictures on the wall, the mismatched furniture, the drawing taped to the fridge seemed foreign to her, as if she hadn't seen a home in a long time. Slowly, she stepped inside. Daniel busied himself in the kitchen, setting a pot of soup on the stove. The clatter of utensils and the bubbling of broth filled the silence. When he returned with bowls of steaming soup, he found Lila sitting stiffly on the couch, Emily beside her showing off a sketch of a cat wearing a crown. Lila's lips twitched at a ghost of a smile. She accepted the bowl with trembling hands, muttering a soft thank you. The warmth seemed to seep into her as she ate, her shoulders loosening slightly with each bite. They didn't press her with questions. Emily talked enough for all three of them, filling the room with stories of school and stars and silly jokes. Daniel simply listened, watching as the color slowly returned to Lila's face. After dinner, Emily brought out her stuffed bear, plopping it into Lila's lap. "You can borrow him tonight," she said earnestly. "He helps me sleep when I have bad dreams." Lila's eyes shimmered, her throat working as if swallowing down emotion. "Thank you," she whispered, clutching the bear like it was the most precious gift she had ever received. Later, as Emily drifted off to sleep curled against the girl she had so quickly accepted, Daniel remained awake. He sat near the window, the cool glass against his arm, eyes scanning the quiet street outside. Old instincts kept him alert, his mind racing with unspoken questions. Who had hurt her? What was she running from? Would danger follow? But when he glanced back at the couch, where Lila slept with Emily tucked safely against her side, he felt something unexpected, a sense of rightness. He whispered a prayer, something he hadn't done in years, not for clarity, not for answers, but for strength, because he knew one thing: whatever storms lay ahead, he would face them. He was a soldier once, but now he was a father, and both parts of him were ready to protect. Emily had asked a simple question that night, one that would echo in his heart for years to come. "Daddy, can we help her?" And though he couldn't know it then, That single act of kindness would change their lives forever.